Think you're going to get the truth in the Epstein files? Think again. Power hides truth. Power is going to give you a whole bunch of stories that are so confusing and so convoluted and pointing, that's the Democrats. No, it's the Republicans. No, it's those corporations. No, it's the billionaires. Da-da-da. No, it's Jeffrey. No, that's... you're going to be so confused. And I'm going to try to help you out today, because that's just the kind of guy I am. So you are in a goathead world. I'm sorry, but you're dealing with power, and power is going to control the narratives. You know why? Because they're a bunch of goatheads. You see that? That's a goathead. Got 3 little thorns. I'm holding one, so you see 2 there. And the goatheads stick to you. And these are seeds. These are a big superorganism of probably, right? 36 trillion living cells, just like our human body has 36 trillion cells. And if you look at all the cells of the puncture vine, it punctures you with all its seeds. A single trumpet vine can have 1,000 seeds. We got one in our yard up north here in New Mexico. I swear it has 10,000 seeds. Am I going to count them all? Hell no. How am I going to get rid of it? Well, you can't burn it. You can pull it out, but the seeds drop off. You have to buy these $300 machines, right? So think of this as me giving you this analysis of what's happening with the Epstein storytelling by all these organizations that have a lot of power, and the stories of the little people that are the victims of the sex trafficking. And they're pretty much telling it true, right? You're getting a true storytelling. However, those in power do not want the stories to come out. So the organizations are jumping. I love this kind of case. I'm sad for the victims, but I love seeing these people trying to dance and obfuscate and pretend like none of this exists and that you're going to forget about it. Well, I'm going to analyze it and help you remember it, because there's a whole lot of goatheads running around, and sometimes we're goatheads too. Face it, we don't always tell what's true, do you? Every single minute, every single day, to every single person? You really can't afford that call for that item by that salesperson on the phone? Yeah, you could, but you're going to say, no, I can't. Or I'm busy right now. Are you really busy, or are you just watching TV? I'm just telling you, everybody's a goathead. So am I. So are you. Here's the film I produced. Enjoy it. Like it. Hope you do.
All right. Today we're breaking down the playbook for how power hides the truth. We're going to use a really powerful framework to see exactly how narratives get controlled, and we'll use the Jeffrey Epstein case as our guide. It's the question that really haunts so many of these stories, isn't it? How can something so big, so terrible, stay hidden in plain sight for decades? Well, together we're going to uncover the actual mechanics behind that mystery. So just to be clear, we're not here to relitigate the case itself. Instead, we're going to use it as a powerful case study to understand the mechanisms, the tools and techniques that allow truth to be buried by people with immense influence and, frankly, unlimited resources. And this is the core puzzle, right? How does a whole network like this even happen? How is it concealed for so long? To make sense of it, you need a special kind of lens. And for that, we'll be using a fascinating analytical framework from Dr. David Boje that helps us see what's really going on beneath the surface. Dr. Boje calls this framework the goathead epidemic. And if you've ever stepped on one of those thorny weeds, you know they're impossible to get rid of. He uses that metaphor and others like it to show us how corruption takes root in an organization and, crucially, how it manipulates the stories that we all end up hearing. So the main idea here is the goathead superorganism. You could just picture it, right? An invasive weed, a puncture vine. Once it gets into an organization, its thorny corruption just spreads everywhere, creating this whole system of scandal and complicity that is incredibly hard to pull out. Okay, so on one side of this battle, you have what are called story seeds. These are the raw, unfiltered pieces of truth. In a case like this, we're talking about emails, texts, and the incredibly courageous first-hand accounts from the victims. These are the undeniable little fragments of reality. And then, on the other side, you have the story filters. These are the tools the GOATHEAD system uses to control everything. They're these cognitive and organizational tricks that basically select, distort, and even invent information to fill in the gaps, all to create a version of reality that protects the powerful. And this right here, this gets to the absolute core of why these filters are so effective. It's truly staggering to think about, but our brains filter out 99.9% of sensory information every single second. That leaves these huge gaps in our perception. And powerful narratives, they are literally designed to rush in and fill those gaps for us. So, what do these filters actually sound like out in the wild? Well, you've definitely heard them. The linear filter just says, hey, this is the way we've always done things. The hierarchical filter insists, leadership means total control. And the bounded rationality filter? That one dismisses all ethics and emotion for what it calls cold, hard, self-serving logic. Okay, so let's put this into practice. We can actually map the direct conflict between these story seeds and the story filters using what Dr. Boje calls the 7 W's framework. We're going to look at 3 of the most revealing examples to see exactly how this works. Let's start with the first W, who. This one asks the most basic question of all. What is the core identity and ethical character of the people actually involved in this story? And boom, the clash is immediate. The victim story seed is all about courage. They're survivors fighting for the kids they once were. The elite story filter, on the other hand, is this carefully constructed, totally inauthentic persona. It's all about self-preservation and dodging any kind of ethical responsibility. Okay, now let's jump ahead to W5. Why? This gets right to the heart of motivation. What is the core reason, the driving force behind what each group is doing? And again, look at this contrast. The victim's motive is deeply human. It's a desire for accountability and to protect other people. But the institutional filter completely hijacks that why. It reduces a human issue to these sterile corporate terms like shareholder value, which, let's be honest, is often just code for protecting powerful friends and donors. And for our last example, let's look at W6, with. This is all about relationships, about community. Who do you stand with, and what is your responsibility to other people? The difference here is just staggering. The survivors, they built a community, a sorority with a united voice to demand action. The elite network, they did the exact opposite. They pulled back into a protective inner circle, an echo chamber that met any calls for accountability with what the victims themselves called a deafening silence. So, what does this all mean for us, for you and me? Well, this whole framework isn't just about one specific case. It's a universal tool that we can all use to develop critical awareness. And Dr. Boje offers us an antidote to these manipulative filters. He calls it unthinking. And it's really just the simple but incredibly powerful act of pausing, of questioning our own assumptions and asking that one crucial question: what if I'm wrong? And that's really the key takeaway here. The GOATHEAD epidemic isn't just some abstract theory. It's a practical mental model. It gives us the power to look at the news, at politics, even at our own workplaces, and spot the difference between the raw truth and a carefully filtered story. So, we're going to leave you with this challenge. Now that you have the tools to see past the official story, take a look around you. What are the story filters that are shaping your world? And maybe more importantly, what truths might they be hiding?